Welcome to the Explainer. I was just scrolling through GitHub's latest updates, and I am absolutely thrilled to share some massive, literally industry-shifting news with you today. GitHub has just announced a brand new beta exam, the GH600. And listen, this isn't just another routine certification update. This is the GitHub Certified Agentic AI Developer exam, and it represents a foundational shift in what it actually means to be a modern developer. If you're looking to stay ahead of the curve and really validate your skills in the age of AI, well, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get right into it. This quote is direct from the GitHub announcement. So the crucial point is, the developer skill set is undergoing a monumental evolution. We're moving away from purely writing every single line of code ourselves, and we're moving toward designing, supervising, and governing autonomous AI systems that do all that heavy lifting for us. And this exam, it's the ultimate validation of that specific evolution. It proves you know exactly how to operate and integrate AI agents safely across the entire software development lifecycle. Here's our quick agenda for today. We're covering the breaking GH600 beta news, figuring out if this exam is right for you, diving into our 6-part study roadmap, sharing some key prep resources, and finally showing you how to claim your beta discount. Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. Is this exam for you? Target roles and audiences. Now, you might be wondering who this is for. This certification is definitely not just for dedicated AI researchers in a lab somewhere. It heavily targets hands-on practitioners, software developers, platform engineers, DevOps, security engineers, and technical product managers. Basically, if you're already experimenting with tools like GitHub Copilot, if you're dabbling in agent-driven workflows, or if you're the person tasked with safely introducing AI into your organization's pipeline, this is your moment to officially prove your expertise. Moving right along to Part 2, the 6-part study roadmap, structuring your GH600 prep. Looking straight at the exam guide, here is exactly how you should allocate your study time, and this brilliantly illustrates where the heavy hitters are. Notice that implement tool use and environment interaction is the heaviest section, taking up to 25% of the exam, while managing memory and implementing guardrails carries slightly less weight. We're going to walk through every single one of these domains right now so you know exactly what concepts to tackle. Let's start with the first domain, making up 15 to 20% of your score, preparing agent architecture. The exam is absolutely going to test your ability to define the strict boundaries between an agent thinking about a task and an agent actually executing it. You need to know how to configure an agent to output a structured plan, validate that plan, and critically, prevent that agent from taking autonomous action until that plan is explicitly checked and approved. Because let's be real, nobody wants an AI agent autonomously deploying to production on a Friday afternoon. It is all about control. Next up is the heaviest section of the whole exam at 20 to 25%, tool use and environment interaction. You absolutely must understand MCP, Model Context Protocol servers. You'll need to know how to configure remote MCP servers, manage registries, and set up allow lists. Plus, you critically need to understand how to invoke agents directly within continuous integration workflows and how to build really robust error handling. When an agent fails, and it will, you need to know exactly how to implement automated retries, rollbacks, and escalation paths. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this specific concept, context drift. This falls under the third domain, memory, state, and execution, which is 10 to 15% of your score. Think of it like this. When an AI agent runs for a long time across multiple tools, it can sometimes kind of forget prior decisions or drift away from its original instructions. You'll be tested on how to persist agent state, manage short-term versus long-term memory, and actively detect and correct this drift so the agent stays on track without repeating steps. Our fourth domain, worth another 15 to 20%, is all about evaluation and tuning. Because it's not enough to just deploy an agent and hope for the best. You have to continuously evaluate its performance. The exam will ask you to analyze agent failures using logs, traces, and workflow artifacts. You'll need to be able to classify the root cause. Ask yourself, was it a reasoning error? Did the agent misuse a tool? Was there a context issue? And once you find that failure, you have to know how to tune the behavior by revising instructions or refining tool access. Domain 5 introduces a whole new level of complexity that I find completely fascinating, multi-agent coordination. Worth 15 to 20%, this is where you aren't just managing one agent, you are orchestrating several. How do you configure agent isolation so they can work in parallel safely? What actually happens when two agents create overlapping code changes or duplicate their effort? You really need to know how to detect these conflicts, document handoffs between agents, and put recovery patterns in place when coordination breaks down. Let's move to our final domain and see how this builds into guardrails and accountability, worth 10 to 15%. This is really the logical conclusion of everything we've talked about. You have to balance execution speed with organizational security. The exam tests your ability to classify actions by risk, enforce least privilege access, and identify exactly when to implement human-in-the-loop approvals. You've got to know how to block actions that violate responsible AI policies, but without unnecessarily slowing down your delivery pipeline. All right, part 3, exam prep and resources, the tools to help you pass. First things first, keep this number in your mind, 700. That is the magic number. Out of a maximum score, a 700 or greater is what's required to pass the GH600 and earn your certification. That is your target right there. To get to that 700, you've got several key resources at your disposal. I highly, highly recommend starting with Microsoft Learn. They have a specific course called Foundations of Agentic AI in GitHub that will give you the crucial hands-on experience you need. Also, definitely utilize the exam sandbox to familiarize yourself with the testing environment before the big day. And hey, if you get stuck, lean on the GitHub community discussions, or even consider reaching out to their training service partners for some in-depth instructor-led prep. Finally, part 4, claim your beta discount. Important dates and details. Okay, here is the deal. You can get 80% off the market price of the exam. However, this is strictly limited to the first 100 people who register and take the beta exam on or before May 31st, 2026. Please note there are a few geographic exclusions. The beta is currently not available in Turkey, Pakistan, India, or China. If you do take the beta, your score will be released about 8 weeks after the beta period concludes, which is ahead of the general availability launch slated for July 2026. To claim this incredible 80% discount, you need this exact promo code. Grab a pen, take a screenshot, write this down right now. GH600 Flanders. When you go to register for the exam and you reach the payment prompt, just drop this code in. But remember, it is first come, first served for the very first 100 people, so definitely do not wait on this. The landscape of software development is transforming right in front of our eyes. Writing code is becoming just one piece of a much larger puzzle, where supervising and orchestrating intelligent agents is the true superpower. The GH600 beta is your opportunity to formally validate that you are at the forefront of this revolution. So, the only question left is, are you ready to govern the AI that builds the future? I strongly encourage you to use that promo code, register for the beta, and take that massive step forward in your career. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and happy studying.